for that. That's 32% of people.
I'll wait till he's almost 3 cases. I'll wait.
Okay.
So thanks for bearing with us.
This tournament's brutal. What about all the ones he's arrived at?
I think all except he's
Yeah.
but again, there's the twos.
Alabama. Still.
Very actively reading.
See how bad it
It was just like the underdogs.
Texas and UCLA are the only two.
Huh?
It's. Yeah, it should be going.
New York. I'm bringing the March meeting of the City Council Graphic Commission to order. Is there any culinary business, Mr. Price? Mr. Freeze?
Dave, right?
Yes, I'm.
Yes, Mr. Thompson, Chair Thompson, we have a few preliminary matters. The first one is, City Attorney Robert Tobias has asked that a licensed attorney be the one to administer any oaths. Since you want to put on your radar, you want to go ahead and.
Well, I think the way that I would suggest we handle that today is that everyone that would like to testify in any matters before this commission today, we swear everyone in at the same time and would like to do that. Would you like to do that?
I'm happy to do that and to complement what you just said, BZA does that. They administer the oath to anybody who anticipates providing testimony. And then when individuals come up to the table, the chair just asks them, have you previously been sworn in, and then state your name. And if they haven't, because they arrived late or went to the bathroom, then they just administer a second, a supplemental oath to that one person.
Okay, does everyone understand that? Okay, thank you. Want to do that now then?
And you'd prefer that I do that?
Yes, sir. that-
Sure, absolutely. So if anybody,
Please.
if
raise your
anybody
hand.
anticipates providing testimony today in any way, shape, or form, please stand up, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the evidence or testimony that you provide today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If you do, say, I do.
I do.
Okay, and any other
Yes.
business?
And as most of you know, especially on the commission, this is our chairman's bittersweet last day. He will be sailing off into the sunset, I guess, so we are sad to see him go, which means we'll have to have an election to represent or elect a new chair. I do have some paperwork that I'll give you at the end here, but do you want to do that now or at the end of the meeting?
We can do it at the end.
Okay. And then finally, well, that's it. That's it for preliminary matters. So we'll go ahead and start with the first case on the agenda.
Okay, calling the first case, GC 22-026, 3900 South High Street. Would the applicant please come forward? As I'm aware that you were sworn in, sir, would you repeat your name and your affiliation to this case?
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. You guys hear me?
Green light on?
Yes.
Hit it, is it right? You might hit it again.
Just hit push.
Yep.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. Chris Reinhardt here on behalf of Turkey Hill, who is the property owner and applicant in this matter. And I'm not sure how you want me to proceed, but I can give you an overview of what their request is, and I'll do that.
We'll do, the staff will give us an overview first and then we'll allow you to testify.
All right.
Thank you. This one.
GC 22-026, 3900 South High Street is located in the southwest corner of High Street and Obens Road. It is part of the Far South Area Commission and is zone C4 commercial. The 1.48 acre site is developed with a gas station. Surrounding uses are primarily commercial. The applicant proposes to reface an existing sign with updated graphics and a digital pricing sign. The planning division has considered automatic changeable copy signs within commercial overlay areas, particularly with respect to fuel prices. A primary concern regarding this issue is that the potential precedent for additional changeable copy signs, not limited to fuel prices. A proliferation of automatic changeable copy signs would be inconsistent with the design objective of the commercial overlays. Additionally, C2P2 design guidelines discourage automatic changeable copy signs and state that monument style signs are recommended in suburban areas. It should not be taller than 6 feet. Staff would potentially be supportive of the request for automatic changeable copy, provided that the proposal was revised such that the new sign is a monument sign, 6 feet in height. The Division of Traffic Management has no comments, and the Far South Columbus Area Commission recommends approval of the request. Staff is recommending disapproval. Staff typically recommends approval of automatic changeable copy fuel pricing signs with the condition that the ground sign be a monument type sign not taller than 6 feet. However, in this instance, staff acknowledges the applicant is proposing to recondition an existing ground sign and can therefore recommend approval of to the requested reduced sign setback, the increase in height, graphic area, and sign area as long as area as along with the upgraded automatic changeable copy sign for fuel pricing. However, since pole signs are prohibited in the regional commercial overlay, staff sees no justification as to why a landscape base cannot be added in there. Therefore, is recommending disapproval to the variances to 3372.806E. Staff also consistently recommends disapproval to automatic changeable copy signs with the exception of fuel pricing, and is recommending disapproval to the automatic changeable copy portion for the auto spot. And the conditions that we're recommending is the elevation be stamped. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Hart, would you present your case, please?
Yeah, so I'm not sure how familiar the members of the commission are with this area. Just going to ask that, just kind of get some understanding of how much you guys know and how much you don't. So in this particular area, there's can you go back to the map? So on the north side of Obetz Road is a speedway, which currently has a pole sign that has 3 electronic changeable copy pricing signs, as well as I believe a manual advertising sign down below those. And that was previously approved through city processes a number of years ago. And then I believe recently across the street, there's a Lowe's shopping center where a Sheetz has been approved. And along with that approval is a 20-foot tall pole sign with 3 electronic pricing signs. And I brought a copy of the application kind of showing what's been approved. I don't know. And so if you're familiar with that particular site, Turkey Hill acquired this, and they've been in the process of updating that site over the course of time. I believe they previously, I don't believe before you all, but they've come through and updated the store, they've updated the car wash, and now they're updating the signage. And this was the only sign that required a variance. And essentially what they're trying to do is just to maintain the existing infrastructure, if you will. They didn't want to have to rip out the whole pole sign and redo the entire sign. And so what they wanted to do is just to reconfigure it using the existing structure and add, actually going to eliminate a couple of the pricing. They just wanted 2 electronic pricings. And then if you can go back to the graphic, that thing at the very bottom is actually a watch fire sign that I did bring a video because the initial reaction to that from the community was no. And then we actually showed them the video to show them what Turkey Hill was proposing, and they were fine with that. And I'll explain the caveat that they did ask for once we show the video. Yeah, that's maybe.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah, so if you see that top part on top of the truck, that's essentially all it does. It's just a static, every so often it'll change the advertisement. there's no moving graphics, there's no flashing, there's no, and the sign is fully programmable. So the one thing the community asked is that during rush hour type timeframes in the morning and the evening, that we add additional time between the changing of those things, and we are certainly open to that since it is fully programmable. But I thought I would get kind of the guidance of staff and maybe the commission as to what, if the commission is willing to approve that, kind of what timeframes they think would be appropriate during those specific timeframes, and then we can build that into whatever the approval is. So that's basically the overview. So we're just basically trying to keep pace with the surrounding competitors and bring the existing sign up to some modern type standards. So, and with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
There's been a consistent stance with the commission that we were not opposed to changeable copy for prices in these instances, but you have any leeway to make that a static sign at the bottom?
I can tell you this, Mr. Chairman, if the will of the commission is that they don't like the electronic advertising sign at the bottom, I have authorization to withdraw that completely. But even if, you know, there's a willingness to allow that, given the fact that we're only asking for 2 of the pricing things instead of 3, I mean, I think they would be agreeable to, I mean, you could put any limit you wanted. If you wanted a minute time frame, I'm sure since it is fully programmable, I think they would be willing to address those issues in any way that the commission guides.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
Well, this sheet's application is consistent with your recommendation. In other words, I believe, I mean, the reason that was approved is there was no bottom changeable copy sign, correct?
Well,
I don't know that application, but I believe so.
yeah, I handled that case, and staff was recommending disapproval to the ground, or to it being a full sign. So I think they agreed to add landscaping, which I think was in the conditions, but you're right, there was no automatic change of the copy other than the field pricing.
Right.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak of this case? Okay. I have a consensus, I think, that we would prefer there not be any advertising, changeable copy advertising.
So agreed.
That's reasonable. And
Unless there's any other questions or what
I have another question about the landscaping.
Sure.
Is there no specific reason you couldn't put some sort of landscaping around the base of that?
I'm sure we could. I mean, I just don't think they, in terms of doing the graphic and the design, I don't think there's, I think it was kind of difficult for them to show anything that's kind of meaningful in the graphic itself, but I mean, we're always willing to do landscaping, so.
Well, if you go back to the one side, there does seem to be quite a bit of landscaping.
There's bushes and all kinds of stuff
If you could
around
just,
it.
yeah, provide a site plan or something that shows
Yeah.
that continued around to hide.
Yeah,
that wall.
we could submit a plan to staff, you know, if that's a condition of approval, we could submit a proposed landscaping plan, subject to staff approval. We'd be happy to do that.
There were other questions, Mr. Boyle?
Yeah, and I agree. I don't agree with having the watch fire sign there. But in that space, would there be a static? So in other words, still have all that square footage.
I think they were trying to get away from having the static type stuff just because of having to have somebody outside manually changing, you know, advertising and things like that. So their preference was to have the watch fire sign because they can do that from the inside as opposed to having somebody manually out there in the middle of the winter, you know, changing.
So this sign will just stop at auto spa.
Yes,
That's
yeah,
it.
they would
Okay.
just remove that bottom panel.
Okay, that's great.
Yes, ma'am.
So I don't know what the circumstances of why this was approved, but I don't hear what the hardship is.
Well, the hardship would be is that they have 2 competitors that are around them that have the electronic copy. And so therefore, what we're trying to do is to maintain the competitive, it's not advantage, but just maintain the competitiveness with surrounding competitors that doesn't have a manually changed sign when you've got 2 competitors that are essentially across the street from you that have approved electronic copy through the city. So that we're just trying to maintain the same equivalence, if you will, with our competitors.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion,
So we're,
finding of fact?
so we're voting with two conditions, right?
With the
Removal of that
condition.
sign and maintenance of landscaping.
Well,
plan.
I
And
think,
submittal of landscaping plan will be approved by.
Yeah.
Correct. Is that everybody's understanding?
I just want to make sure I'm on the same page with staff.
Is that it?
Yes,
Submission of the landscaping plan, subject to staff approval,
correct.
around the sign.
And removal of the copy on the third. slide.
Yeah, the watch fire sign.
Okay, so I now have a motion based on, for finding of fact.
I'll make a motion, based on the testimony of the city staff and applicant that, circumstance warrant the granting of variance and approval of the application.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor, you decide by.
Aye.
Opposed? Yes, have it. Now I need a motion based on the finding of fact for approval.
I'll make a motion based on the finding of fact to approve the application.
There's second?
I would say just make sure the motion approved,
Yeah,
list the conditions.
Yes.
Yeah, as conditioned.
and do we remove the step?
Yes. No, I need to call roll.
Is there a second? I'm sorry.
Did I get a second? I thought. yes.
I'll second.
No, I'm sorry.
Mr. Cavalaris?
Yes.
Mr. Cooperman?
Yes.
Mr. Hoy?
Yes.
Ms. Augustine?
Yes.
Chair Thompson?
Yes, and it's approved as condition. Thank you, sir.
Great, thank you. Congratulations on your new role.
Thank you. Next case is GC 23-002, 4982 to 4986 Gender Road. Jeff, please come forward. Sir, you were sworn in. Please state your name and your affiliation to this case.
My name is Srini Kumar. I'm the applicant and the owner of the project.
Would you mind, you have a spelling on that?
He's the applicant.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's on the application.
Yeah, Srini, a short version of long name.
Who's presenting this?
GC 23-002 for 4982 through 4986 Gender Road is zoned CPD and is located on the northeast corner of Chelsea Glen Drive and Gender Road and is located in the Greater Southeast Area Commission. The 1.97 acre site is currently being developed as a gas station and convenience store. Surrounding uses are primarily residential with a commercial plaza to the south and a vacant parcel and public storage to the west. The applicant proposes to establish a graphics plan for a newly constructed gas station, including 2 wall signs and an automatic changeable copy monument fuel sign. The commercial planned development district prohibits electronic changeable copy unless the development text provides for C4 district graphic standards. Development text for this property states that a graphics plan is to be established. Planning states that they are supportive of the request, that C2P2 recommends monument signs not taller than 6 feet and that wall signs should not obscure architectural lines and details. The proposal is consistent with these recommendations. C2P2 also discourages automatic changeable copy signs. While the proposed sign does include automatic changeable copy, planning is supportive in the request in this instance as the feature is limited to fuel prices only and the overall style of the sign is consistent with plan recommendations. The Division of Traffic Management has no comments. The Greater Southeast Area Commission recommends approval of this request. And staff can recommend approval of the requested graphics plan because the proposed monument sign and wall signs are all appropriately sized, and the automatic changeable copy is limited to fuel prices only, consistent with other previously approved automatic changeable copy signs. Staff is recommending 2 conditions: 1, that the elevations be stamped, and 2, that the automatic changeable copy will be limited to the fuel pricing.
Okay. Sir, you have something to add to there?
No, that's it.
Are there any questions?
You're agreeable to the conditions imposed by city staff?
Yeah, the monument sign for the fuel and the storefront signs, that's good.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion for approval based, do I have a finding of fact on this graphic? Oh, it's a graphics plan. I'm right. We don't have to do that. Thank you. We have a motion then for approval of this graphics plan.
Yes, Chairman, I have a question, 'cause, I don't know if it's the way I printed it, but I would like to hear for the record what the hardship is.
It's a graphic.
It's a graphics plan.
You don't need that.
Okay.
Okay, now can we have,
I'll make a motion to approve the application as presented, as conditioned.
is there a second?
A second.
Call the roll?
Mr. Cooperman,
Yes.
Mr. Hoyt,
Yes.
Ms. Augustine,
Yes.
Mr. Cavalaris,
Yes.
Chair Thompson.
Yes. And it's approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next case is case of blanket 046 1836 Lockbourne Road for the applicant. And sworn, sir, I need you to put your name for the record and your affiliation to this case.
My name is John White. I represent the development company that is developing the building that the proposed signs will be placed on.
Can you pull that microphone a little closer?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Please present everyone. Mr. Priest.
Yes. 1836 Lockbourne Road is located at the northeast corner of Lockbourne Road and Smith Road. Site is zone AR1 apartment residential and is located within the Columbus Southside Area Commission. The site is developed with a 3-story, 60-unit affordable housing development with an on-site daycare facility. Surrounding uses include primarily single-unit residential dwellings. There's a retail carryout to the south, fast food restaurant to the southwest, and a manufacturing operation to the north. The applicant proposes to install 4 wall signs directed towards Lockbourne Road, 3 residential complex wall signs, one each that says Play, Live, and Lockbourne Green, which will be illuminated. LED channel letters and 1 illuminated instructional address wall sign, which identifies the developer, WODA, and site offers an equal housing opportunity. Southside Plan and Columbus Citywide planning policies state that wall signs should be sized to fit with the scale and size of the building. C2P2 further states that new signage should be designed to be logical and a complementary component of the overall design of the storefront. Signs should be of coordinated design and reinforced rather than compete with each other. The proposal in question is consistent with these guidelines, therefore planning supports the proposal as presented. The Division of Traffic Management has no comments, and the Columbus Southside Area Commission recommends approval. City staff can recommend approval as the proposed signs fit with the scale and size of the building and coordinated design that reinforce rather than compete with each other and appear to be installed in a logical and complementary component of the overall design. As prescribed by the requirements of the Southside Plan and Columbus Citywide planning policies. We're not asking for any conditions, and turn it back over to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Would you like to add anything to this proposal, sir?
I think staff summarized it pretty well. We're about 70% complete with the affordable housing development. They did mention that there will be an on-site daycare facility, and the purpose of the signs is to kind of display that live and play amenity that we will be offering our future residents. The building will be geared towards families. The other thing that I would add is the Ennis Gardens Civic Association did review this as well, and they supported that unanimously before the area commission did.
And thank you. Are there any questions? Not seeing any. Do I have a motion? Conditions, sir? Conditions, whatever.
There are no conditions.
We have a motion.
Is there a color scheme or is there a commitment to a color?
So the signs, I believe staff did mention that the signs will be backlit with LED lights, but the channel of the letters will all be white.
Okay, any other questions?
So I didn't get a, I don't know, I didn't get a hardship statement for this one.
So in my view, the hardship in this particular zoning district, the code doesn't necessarily promote more than one sign. In this case, I would classify this as mixed use. So we have a sign located at the daycare facility where play is displayed. Live, which would be a resident entrance, and then the name of the development, Lockbourne Green, at another entrance. So in my view, the hardship is that the code does not take into account mixed use residential development in this zoning district.
Okay. Do I now have a finding of fact for this?
I'd like to offer the finding of facts presented by the staff and by the applicant to be true and to progress on into the voting.
There's a second?
I'll second.
Those in favor, please sign aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. And now I have a motion based on finding of fact for approval of this variance.
I'll make a motion to approve the application based on the finding of fact.
Second?
Second.
Let's call the roll.
Mr. Hoy,
Yes.
Ms. Augustine,
Yes.
Mr. Cavalaris,
Yes.
Mr. Cooperman,
Yes.
Chair Thompson.
Yes. And it is approved, sir. Thank you. So the next order of business.
We're gonna see what this young lady is, the
He
audience.
would be, that's my grandmother.
Oh, okay. I'll see, being in action.
Have fun with them.
So there is more business, it's time for the election.
Can I vote?
As of today, yeah.
How do you want to handle it?
Well, do we have a nomination for new chair?
I'd like to make a nomination.
Brutal.
Could I make a nomination? I don't want to. Attorney Brian Cooperman to be our chairman.
Second.
It's seconded.
It's moved and seconded.
What do you, are you okay?
Sure.
Would you second, are you second nomination?
Oh.
Yeah, I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Mr. Hoyt,
Yes.
Ms. Augustine,
Yes.
Mr. Cavalaris,
Yes.
Mr. Cooperman.
I can't vote on myself.
You can.
Yeah, sure.
It was a test.
And soon as you perform
Abstain.
No?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Just a point of reference, so the chair is the one that usually calls for the motion related to finding of facts and
Not staff.
for approval. So
At the
everyone
front.
else needs to step up in terms of making motions because the chair tradition does not do that.
Are you saying I didn't step up?
Saying I do it most of the time.
I'm just share the wealth, share the wealth.
And then one last thing before we leave, we do have a proclamation from the mayor, citation of recognition for Mr. Thompson. It says, whereas the mayor of the city of Columbus, Ohio, has authority to recognize occasions of outstanding significance, and whereas Leslie Thompson, Chairman, Columbus Graphics Commission Building and Zoning Services, has been an exemplary board member of the city of Columbus for, well, since 30 years, but now it's 38. Displaying the kind of attitude and enthusiasm that gets the job done. And whereas Les has made many friends in his field and throughout the graphics industry, whereas Les Thompson is retiring from the Columbus Graphics Commission on March 21st, 2023, and will be missed by all of his fellow commission members and city staff. Whereas Les Thompson is deserving of recognition for faithful service to the citizens of Columbus. Now therefore, I, Andrew J. Ginther, Mayor of the City of Columbus, do hereby issue this citation of recognition to Mr. Leslie Thompson.
So where did those 8 years come from?
Started in probably
1980. He was an intern.
I have 90